Understanding Judaism and Zionism, thanks to Israel Shahak's book, Jewish History, Jewish Religion, Laws Against Non-Jews, Desecrating the Sabbath to Save Life following. All this is far from being a dead issue. The most up-to-date halachic position on these matters is contained in a recent, concise, and authoritative book published in English under the title Jewish Medical Law. This book, which bears the imprint of the prestigious Israeli foundation Mosav Harav Kook, is based on the responsa of Rabbi Eliezer Yehuda Waldenberg, Chief Justice of the Rabbinical District Court of Jerusalem. A few passages of this work deserve special mention. First, it is forbidden to desecrate the Sabbath for a Karaite. This is stated bluntly, absolutely, and without any further qualification. Presumably, the hostility of this small sect makes no difference, so they should be allowed to die rather than be treated on the Sabbath. As for Gentiles, according to the ruling stated in the Talmud and codes of Jewish law, it is forbidden to desecrate the Sabbath, whether violating biblical or rabbinical law, in order to save the life of a dangerously ill Gentile patient. It is also forbidden to deliver the baby of a Gentile woman on the Sabbath. But this is qualified by a dispensation. However, today it is permitted to desecrate the Sabbath on behalf of a Gentile by performing actions prohibited by rabbinic law, for by so doing, one prevents ill feelings from arising between Jew and Gentile. Note: the phrase between Jew and Gentile is a euphemism. The dispensation is designed to prevent hostility of Gentiles towards Jews, not the other way around. End of note. This does not go very far, because medical treatment very often involves acts banned on the Sabbath by the Torah itself, which are not covered by the dispensation. There are, we are told, some halachic authorities who extend the dispensation to such acts as well. But this is just another way of saying that most halachic authorities, and the ones that really can't, take the opposite view. However, all is not lost. Jewish medical law has a truly breathtaking solution to this difficulty. The solution hangs upon a nice point of Talmudic law. A ban imposed by the Torah on performing a given act on the Sabbath is presumed to apply only when the primary intention in performing it is the actual outcome of the act. For example, grinding wheat is presumed to be banned by the Torah only if the purpose is actually to obtain flour. On the other hand, if the performance of the same act is merely incidental to some other purpose, then the act changes its status. It is still forbidden, to be sure, but only by the sages rather than by the Torah itself. Therefore, quote, in order to avoid any transgression of the law, there is a legally acceptable method of rendering treatment on behalf of a Gentile patient, even when dealing with violation of biblical law. It is suggested that, at the time that the physician is providing the necessary care, his intentions should not primarily be to cure the patient, but to protect himself and the Jewish people from accusations of religious discrimination and severe retaliation that may endanger him in particular and the Jewish people in general. With this intention, any act on the physician's part becomes an act whose actual outcome is not its primary purpose, which is forbidden on Sabbath only by rabbinic law. This end of quote. This hypocritical substitute for the Hippocratic oath is also proposed by a recent authoritative Hebrew book. Note: Dr. Falk Schlesinger, Institute for Medical Halachic Research at SHAHAK.JEWISH Hospital, Sefer Asiya, The Physician's Book, Reuben Mass, Jerusalem, 1979. End of note. Although the facts are mentioned at least twice in the Israeli press, note, by myself in Ha'olam Hazeh, May the 30th of the year 1979, and by Shulamit Aloni, member of Knesset in Haaretz, June the 17th of the year 1980. End of note. The Israeli Medical Association has remained silent. Having treated in some detail the supremely important subject of the attitude of the halacha to a Gentile's very life, which we shall deal much more briefly with other halachic rules which discriminate against Gentiles. Since the number of such rules is very large, we shall mention only the more important ones.